Do you ever wonder why you're doing what you do in life? Do you wish that you could be really happy and passionate about what you do? Or maybe you already are and you want to expand in a different direction. Hi, I'm Barbara Ann, host of What the Why? I love what I do. A lot of that has to do with my story, my journey to this point in life. And guess what? Everybody has a story. So please join me for conversations with leaders from all walks of life about what they do, and more importantly, why they do it, how they found their core purpose, their passion, their mission in life. And if you're looking for your own, maybe you'll get some great suggestions on how you too can find your why.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of What the Why with Barbara Ann. If you haven't seen us before, our show features conversations with diverse leaders from all walks of life about why they do what they do and how they figured out it was their purpose. Are you sick and tired of feeling sick and tired, or do you feel stuck and want to get unstuck, whether it's in your job, your company that you own, or even your life? All of the people that we speak with have something in common with you. At some point, they felt similarly, or they decided to go through some type of pivot and make a change. And today's guest is no exception. I would like to introduce you to Ella Morgulis. She is a Haas MBA with 20 years of experience in Silicon Valley in product management, marketing, partnerships, business development. And Ella focuses really on something that's near and dear to my heart, coaching and facilitation. She is also an International Coach Federation certified professional certified coach, or PCC coach, something that we have in common. And she helps her clients increase their confidence and improve performance, set up their game at any managerial level, rediscover fulfillment and enjoyment in their work, and develop a strategy for the future. Communication and presentation skills, handling difficult conversations, giving and receiving feedback, which of course is always fun, managing upwards, or what I like to call leading from any chair, delegating, developing employees, career planning strategies, identifying and creating next career moves. These are just some of the key focus areas where her clients receive truly breakthrough results. She just got back from a fascinating tour of Eastern Europe. I could talk to her all day, but in the interest of time, we're just going to get right to welcoming amazing coach and my guest, and your guest today. Welcome, Ella Morgulis. Okay, round of applause. So welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm so glad that you're here, especially so recently after back from Europe, Eastern Europe, traveling all the places that you did. And of course, you've done amazing things in your career. And the first question we always ask after reading just a snippet of some of the amazing things you've done, what did you want to be when you were growing up?
Oh, well, I wanted to be a coach. No, I did not know coaching even existed. Uh, I wanted to be an archaeologist, believe it or not, or a scientist or mathematician. These were some of the ideas I had. I had lots of interests, and I was really good in school. I graduated with their gold medal, as it was back in Soviet Union, and so I was open to so many different exciting careers. But I got a degree in civil engineering, and there were reasons for that. It would be too long to talk about it.
And and it's interesting because I mean, so much of what you did involved project management, things like that. And then you transitioned in coaching. So how did you get from getting your degree in civil engineering,
Mhm.
which is its own significant accomplishment, to coaching and facilitation, which is its own separate significant accomplishment?
Well, even though I had a degree in civil engineering, I actually worked in software engineering since I immigrated to United States. And civil engineering at that time was not really uh, in such demand as software. Software was just hot, and you only needed a pulse to be hired. That was my and I came to the heart of it. I came to Silicon Valley. I came to San Francisco when we moved there, when we immigrated from Odessa, in Ukraine to United States. And I have to be skipping a few steps. I after working for 10 years in the field, I felt I wanted to learn something about business that I didn't know, since my degree was from a very different system, so to speak, from quote unquote socialist country. And I decided to go for an MBA, and chose Berkeley, which was nearby, managed there, and that's so I had learned a lot about the importance of soft skills there.
Okay.
And then after working while working for one of the companies in Silicon Valley, it was SAP, I got an opportunity to get certification in coaching and work with other employees as a coach, because the company had this culture of internal coaches. So, but actually, I was already working on coaching education when they offered me that. But this opened the whole field. I had so many potential clients that I did not need to charge for services. I did not need to recruit them. They found me. And that's how I got into it initially.
All right. So, and it there's so many people out there that even coaches who would love to make the transition that you did,
Mhm.
and yet there's something that holds them back for whatever reason.
Mhm.
What was it that helped you realize that, this is something I really want to take to the
Mhm.
next level, not just do internally where I'm at,
Right.
but really live into?
Well, as a coach, you would really appreciate my answer, because there was a career coach involved in that decision. I was transitioning from company to company and started working with a career coach, and she really inspired me. Right, she got me into that state where I had to admit to myself that there is something that makes me really passionate, that I feel is my real calling, and it was coaching. I did not think at all about the difference between doing coaching as an internal coach as part of your job duties versus doing it on your own. What really spoke to me, and what I had to admit to myself, was that that's what I really wanted to do. And if I don't do it, if I don't make a switch now, then when? So that's what helped me to make that to take a leap of faith.
Yeah, it really was. And there's, and as coaches, we so often deal with people who are dealing with fear, which, we often call, false evidence appearing real. But one of the newer acronyms that I've embraced is face everything and rise. And, what I'm hearing is there's a side of you that really did that. Here's tremendous opportunity to do something that, wasn't what you thought you would do. And yet you found your purpose in it. And that's one of the things that I loved. The subtitle for this interview, for those who are watching, is Coach to Coach, Heart to Heart. And, as I've gotten to know you, that really seems to kind of distinguish one of the things that makes you so good at what you do. Um, to the extent that you can share, because of course, all of us, especially those of us who are part of International Coaching Federation or ICF, can share. Um, what are one or two of your favorite success stories, to the extent that you can tell it without divulging any confidentiality or breaching any confidentiality?
Huh. instead of, yeah, there, there were a few really funny early success stories. Well, one, uh, I had a I had a client who showed up and talked like a machine, like a robot. And and he admitted to me that when he managed to say something, he would say that he feels frozen, that he doesn't feel anything. He feels frozen. He doesn't know what to do with himself. And he came to me with a question. It was, am I content or is something wrong? So he couldn't, that was, and after first session, I was wondering if I should just tell him that we don't really match, because I couldn't, it felt I couldn't really help him open up. Somehow, I can't even say what it was, but he opened up and he opened his eyes and completely, and all the things that he was in this analysis, he was, as we are both positive intelligence certified coaches, we know this a hyper rational type, right? Where people rationalize oh wow, rationalize everything. And he was just locked in this process of analysis. It was just analysis paralysis. So he, uh, fast forward, his life changed. He really, it's not me, he changed his life, and all the things that bothered him that were kind of sitting undone, he started doing them, and he, in all aspects of his life. And then he wrote such a beautiful note to me once. He said, oh, that being frozen, that went away after the first time we met. I mean, it wasn't my impression, but things like this, when success story for me would be, or another brief success story. I was coaching an entrepreneur, and she is actually, you might even know her as well. And uh, uh, she was trying to see where she was, and somewhere during the session, she realized that she is there already. She
Mm.
realized that there were all these limitations, and she said, oh, in a number of years I can do this and that. And suddenly she said, wow, but I am there. And that's one of those aha moments that we cherish so much, that probably that's what gives us that high and reminds us why we came into this. Besides, of course, learning from every client and seeing people's challenges as a reflection of our own challenges and overcoming them together.
I love that. That is so awesome. And I'm glad, yeah, we're both positive intelligence or CPQC.
Yeah, right.
Certified positive intelligence coaches. And it's funny because just yesterday I was with a coach who's an fifth dimension and energy healer, and I said something about her taking the PQ assessment, and she was like, what's PQ? And I'm like, oh, that's right, we go back and forth because positive quotient, positive intelligence. I said I should clarify. So our initials may be CPQC, but we are actually positive and certified positive intelligence coaches. So for anybody who goes and looks at all those initials behind people's names, you have that information. So I forget. I know I was cohort 9. What cohort were you?
Cohort 4.
Yeah, I thought you were earlier. Some other folks, I guess with the OGs in USA vernacular, we're the OGs of the positive intelligence program because they're up into the 20s now. And those who are in
Wow.
cohorts 1 and 2, wow, they really truly were the pioneers. And for those who are interested, Positive Intelligence is actually a book that was written by our leader, Shirzad Shamin, and and with
I was tempted to bring it here, somewhere on my shelf. Yes,
and
probably
that's
work
good.
well.
It's all good, but and it's a book that started kind of as a coaching program that turned into really a worldwide effort, with various iterations of the program and some updates. And I always like to say there's an app for that. And what was it that drew you into positive intelligence, considering the full scope of and body of work of all of the things you had done up to that point?
Mm. Oh, that happened just as I was transitioning into doing coaching full time. I had to go, and when I did, I had to go. I went back to school where I got my initial coaching training and certification. I was Erickson certified coach, and I had to take additional modules so that I could get ICF certification. And it took, gosh, it took me on to a totally different level of coaching. As you know, there is no limit to where you can go with it. And then I thought, um, what would help me stay focused, stay dedicated to it, and actually, that same career coach told me she was recruited into this program, and she said, "Oh, you would love this." So I joined. Now I'm thinking it is a cohort 4, cohort 5. But anyway, so I got on the wait list, and I got into the program. I went through, and I had to recruit people to go through it with me. At that point, it was
Hmm.
mandatory. Later, they started matching people,
Yeah.
uh, and I discovered how much it helped me, because in the end it brings system, it brings order in the chaos, and
Yeah.
helps you stay focused on what is important for you, and brings it back and back and back. And so I've done that. I've done the program, then I stayed on, went through, first I went as a client, then I went into coaching program, and then I went through coaching certification. And I've been bringing positive intelligence to organizations and to individuals, and just seeing how you can change dynamics at work, right? Where people work together for years and years and never really connect. Through this program, they connect, and it changes how they work together. And then everything else in our personal life, or the way people work on themselves and bring it to work. It's one of the ways to change the world. And it's a good tool to have in your toolbox.
You're right. And it's interesting because, and I've mentioned in other podcast episodes that from me and my company, we infused it in everything we do. I figured, okay, this is a new learning opportunity. Great. I had no idea it would be as impactful as it was for me personally as well, especially in the year that I was having that year. And it became part of everything. All our training, all our culture and people work, everything was infused with positive intelligence. Um, and so it's always really great to talk to other positive intelligence coaches. I've had a couple of others on the show as well, and I could talk about it almost every show. But we're here to talk about you. So as we, believe it or not, already start to wind into the downside of our time together.
So
Definitely,
short.
definitely not. It goes so fast. It really does. We have about 8, 10 minutes left. You know, what do you wish you had known about coaching before you went into it as your own company that you know now?
Well, first, I wish I knew about coaching way, way, way before I became a coach. As an immigrant in this country, I had to face so many challenges, and I had my own idea about challenges I was facing, about culture, about everything. And have I not just relied on myself and believed all the stories that I created myself? Have I known how to seek help? My life would have been so much easier. And that's what was reinforcing my desire to bring it to people. It's just if you're smart and you use what is available to you, and coaching is available to everybody these days, not only to highest level executives. then you can leapfrog.
Mhm.
And you can be smart about it. Like you mentioned performance reviews, you mentioned managing up. It's all these things that I could have done so much better. So
Mm.
now, and of course, again, as coaches, we know that it's applicable to anything. Some people show up for coaching because they need to make a decision. I'm not making a decision for them, but I make it so much easier for them because I'm there as a sounding board. I ask questions and they see things that they need to see for themselves. So it's not a crutch. It's an empowering tool that can bring us all up. And if people were a little happy, if also noticing all the positives in our life, right, that the whole coaching helps with that as well. So if we all recognized how much happier we can be than we are without changing much around us, world would have been a different place. So just making little contribution to that is a big mission, and I'm happy to have it.
Um, Ditto on all of that. That was fantastic. Um, what would you say is, if you've encountered any, a common myth that people have about coaching?
Uh-huh. Yeah, well, one of them would be that oftentimes people show up expecting me to hand out advice and to
Yes.
to impart my wisdom onto them. And of course, as experienced coaches, we know that sometimes it is part of what people need. If
Yeah.
they deal with something they never had before, experience with before. For example, an intern gets a full-time job, steps into corporate America. They don't know their expectations are, similar to my expectations were when I arrived, at my first corporate job. So there are things they don't know. But the power of coaching is in helping people find answers that are right for them and that are inside of them. And this myth about, oh yeah, coach, as a coach, I came here, so you tell me. Like, let's find what you can tell yourself. What is the advice that you would give to your best friend in this situation, right? And people always have answers.
It's actually one of my favorite questions. And one of my favorite coach clients, I actually helped her become her own best friend because that was the only, she had to literally embody that. Think of it as not being alone, spending time with your own best friend. And she had such a great weekend the first time she tried it. Because yeah, we do. A lot of us say things to ourselves that we would never say to our best friends.
That's it, right? That's why in positive intelligence there is the main saboteur is the judge, and its
Yes.
main mode is self-judgment, right? We
Yeah.
judge ourselves, we say these horrible things to ourselves, we just find ourselves at fault for everything,
Hmm.
and we
Yeah.
also don't see our own achievements, and we all, as people, we all do that. So
Yeah.
it's so good to allow yourself to admit that, and to be kinder to yourself, and
Hmm.
that results in being kinder to other people, and that changes everything.
Yeah.
Just seems so simple.
Yeah. And to your point, one of the things that we talk about in positive intelligence is that happiness, because there's so many entities out there talking about what like to call toxic positivity. That's not what we do.
No.
Um, Shirzai defines happiness as having more positive thoughts in a day than negative thoughts. That's simple. And I believe earlier you mentioned that somebody had actually achieved what they were seeking. They didn't even realize it. So, um, as we really wind down, um, and maybe you can come back sometime and have a follow-up conversation, which I would love. Um, what additional wisdom can you share to someone who's considering either becoming a coach, or maybe they're a coach and they feel stuck, or maybe they're thinking about hiring a coach? Feel free to pick any one of those.
Mm.
And what would you say to them to encourage them to move forward on any one of those paths?
You know what? I'll tell a short story. Is it okay?
Sure.
So one of my long time clients are very, very, very educated, two PhDs working on very rare diseases as a scientist, right? And uh, and once she shows up, just saying, "Oh, I don't know why am I doing this, why I'm here," and all. And it took me. And you would think that with a mission like that and with abilities, she would be just so confident in what she's doing, and she wasn't. And it's a great reminder for me, and it's a great reminder for any coach. If you feel that just helping people, being, well, happiness is kind of, we can discuss happiness, but experiencing joy in life, yes, more joy than negativity. um, if you feel that this is your mission and this is something that gives you great satisfaction and meaning, then how can you remember it more, right? Sometimes, and sometimes just it's so easy. And I think that that's what happened to that client too. You work so hard, you can feel depleted, you forget, you get burned out. It's a popular word, but it's actually true in our society. So you just forget. So how can you take care of yourself enough so that you can be aware, be more conscious of what you're doing and what is the impact. And if that's the impact you wanted to bring to this world, then that's the answer. But nobody there is going to tell this person, yes, this is the right career for you. No, it's not. They have to answer it for themselves.
And to your point, we do get people who want to be given advice, and we're really more navigators. But even our industry is recognizing that sometimes, even when AI coaches try to just ask questions, people get upset. Sometimes there is a place for advising. Um, I've really loved having you as a guest on our show. What's one question that you wish I had asked that I didn't?
Oh, that's a tough one.
Sorry, didn't mean to like make it really super hard, but
Uh, you know what, you mentioned something in the beginning. I want to say the question, maybe I'll give an answer and then you can think what answer could it be. What
okay.
question could give it
How
is,
hitchhike very much Hitchhiker's Guide to
yeah.
the Galaxy. You're going to give the answer, and I have to come up with
Yes, yeah, and then
one.
and
Okay,
then I will
love
ask.
that.
So what was the question you had to ask me?
Yes.
Um, it's not like we figured everything out. It's not like this is the end of the road. We're all, while we're alive, and maybe after, we don't know what's coming afterwards. It's a journey. The moment you think that you arrived at something and you're going to stay there, that's stagnation. That's the end of curiosity. That's the end of openness. So we're just at this point in time. And if you were to ask me, so what's next for you, for example, sorry, no, I would probably not even know. So don't ask me that question. But just saying, just to saying that as coaches, if you work with the coach is as flawed a human being as anybody else. We're learning from our clients every day, aren't we? And from mistakes they make, from breakthroughs they have, we learn from people. And just this close connection with people, it's not something that somebody at the coffee shop will be talking to you about, right? We create this atmosphere where people can open up, and that intimacy uh, is a great gift to us as much as to them. Oh, okay. Now I hope I
You
answered.
did, and I think I know the question. The question is, how do you as a coach know when you've achieved your greatest success? And the answer was, it's really the journey, the
Yeah.
forever
Oh,
student.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
yes, it's not 42. For those of you who know what we're talking about when I mentioned the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Mhm.
Um, But thank you so much. This has been a beautiful journey. I look forward to future conversations with you and actually having you back as a guest. And for all of you that are tuning in, I keep saying that, this fourth season, we've had some really great variety of guests and their expertise and continuing conversations with people. And if you're really benefiting from what you are experiencing, first of all, thank you. You have so many viewing choices. We really appreciate that you're taking the time to tune in and listen to us or watch us in whatever format you're able to do so. And please, if you know somebody who can benefit from these conversations, share it with them. We'd love to have a broader viewership with which to bring these pearls of wisdom from guests like Ella Morgulis. But also, really importantly, as we wrap this up, always remember, we said at the end of every episode, whether you're looking to make changes, no matter how big or small, tune in again for more illuminating, fun, exciting, inspiring conversations with guests such as Ella, who found her path, pivoted to find her purpose, enjoy the journey, and live it.